Beverly Hills 90,120 star Jennie Garth revealed that her dog passed away recently. It's been a couple of months. I haven't wanted to talk about it. She changed our lives, Garth shared on Instagram. My pearly girl will be with me forever in the softest place in my heart, where I cherish all the people who have left but whom I still feel every day. Thank you, life, for allowing me to feel love so deeply, she wrote. Fans offered their condolences upon learning of Garth's loss, sending big hugs. I understand so well not wanting to talk about it. They really are magical beings that we have the privilege of having in our lives. Their love is simply the best, one replied. Another one wrote, "Love you, Jennie. I'm so sorry. I never had a dog personally, but I know whenever family loses one around me, it hurts just as much as if I actually had one. You'll be in my thoughts and prayers. She's over that rainbow bridge. I just know it." One fan shared, "I'm so very sorry. They certainly take a piece of us with them." Garth's Beverly Hills 90,210 castmate Ian Ziering offered, "So sorry, Jennie." Garth had Pearl for over 10 years. In April 2013, Briefing on Bravo reported seeing Garth out and about in Beverly Hills with her dog Pearl in tow. Wearing flared jeans and a breezy shirt, she had her beloved dog on a leash as she strolled around the city. It's clear Garth had a special bond with her pooch. In February 2024, Garth shared a selfie with Pearl and wrote, "Doggy appreciation post. I love her so much I can't even explain it." The following April, the What I Like About You star posted, "These three things are everything. Everywhere, all at once, my dog Pearl, this ocean air, my family." Garth is an avid dog lover who urges folks to adopt. "I've loved and cared for rescue animals since I was a little girl growing up on a farm in Illinois," Garth said in a video for the American Humane Society. She continued, "My pets have been some of the most important members of my family." Garth then told fans, "I urge you to consider fostering or adopting a shelter pet and to support the noble mission of American Humane. Together, we can make a significant difference in the lives of these loving creatures." In 2020, Garth added a new member to her family, a rescued Chihuahua named Fossey, Briefing on Bravo reported. "When the pandemic started, there were a lot of dogs that needed foster homes, and I thought we were just going to be fostering him, but we all just fell in love with him. He just fits right in, and he plays so well with the other dogs that we just decided to keep him," Garth said. The mom of three revealed, "I'm just the person that's always had a little dog on their lap. I don't really go many places without my dogs. We plan our vacations and trips around the dogs. Our lives basically revolve around the dogs." The light beyond the leash. The ocean breeze swept gently across the Southern California coastline as Jennie Garth stood barefoot on the sand, the golden horizon melting into a warm, purple twilight. She held Pearl's leash in her hand, though the soft, silvery dog that had once tugged at the other end was no longer there. The leash felt heavier now, not because of weight, but because of memory. Her heart ached in that inexplicable way only true love and true loss can elicit. 2 months had passed since Pearl had taken her last breath, curled up in the sunny corner of their living room, the same spot she claimed on the very first day Jennie brought her home over a decade ago. Jennie hadn't spoken about it publicly until now. The grief had been too raw, too sharp, too private. But today, she had posted on Instagram, "My pearly girl will be with me forever in the softest place in my heart, where I cherish all the people who have left but whom I still feel every day. Thank you, life, for allowing me to feel love so deeply." The words came easily when she typed them, but she cried as she hit post, and something miraculous had followed. Echoes of love. Her phone buzzed incessantly afterward, each notification a ripple of compassion from strangers, friends, and the broader community of fans who had grown up watching her on screen. Sending big hugs. "I understand so well not wanting to talk about it. I never had a dog, but I know this kind of pain. You're in my thoughts. They certainly take a piece of us with them." One message in particular stood out. It wasn't from a fan, but from Ian Ziering, her longtime friend and Beverly Hills 90,210 castmate. "So sorry, Jenny. I remember Pearl sneaking popcorn off the craft services table. She was a star in her own right." The memory made Jenny smile through her tears. Pearl had been a star in her own quiet, humble way. No Instagram fame, no designer collars, just a warm heart and a wagging tail that made every day better. Jenny slid her phone into her beach bag and looked out at the water. She remembered last April, when she and Pearl had walked this very beach. Pearl had danced in the tide, fearless despite her age, chasing foam and seagulls like a pup again. That day had felt like a gift then, and now it felt like a goodbye. Rescue, rebirth. Long before she was a television icon or a mother of three, Jenny had grown up in the wide green fields of Illinois. The animals on her family's farm were her first best friends: barn cats, horses, a black lab named Sarge. She learned early that love didn't always come in human form. Sometimes it had fur and paws, and the kind of gaze that made you feel seen in your entirety. So it was no surprise that when she moved to Los Angeles, she eventually opened her heart to another rescue, Pearl. She had found her at a small shelter in East LA, a trembling white shepherd mix with moon-shaped eyes and the quietest demeanor in the kennel. She wasn't the most attention-seeking dog, didn't bark or leap, but she held Jenny's gaze through the metal bars with a steady patience. "She's an old soul," the shelter worker had said. "She's been through a lot." So had Jenny. Pearl came home that very afternoon. 10 years, 10 summers, 10 Christmases. Pearl was there through breakups, birthdays, new roles, a pandemic, and healing. She had welcomed Jenny's children home from school each day like a sentinel of love, waited by the door every time Jenny left, and curled beside her in bed every night without fail. It wasn't just that Pearl had been a dog, she had been family. Fans and kindness. Back at her house, Jenny lit a single candle in the corner of her living room, the same spot where Pearl had spent her final days. She sat on the floor with a notebook in her lap, writing. She didn't know yet whether it would become a blog post, a book, or just a letter to herself. But the process felt healing. She began listing memories. The way Pearl sighed dramatically before curling up in a sunbeam. Her barkless protests when Jenny stopped petting her. The night she sat beside Jenny for hours after a difficult phone call with her ex-husband, resting her head on Jenny's lap in quiet solidarity. The comments from fans poured in like a tide of warmth. "When I lost my dog Bella, I couldn't talk about it for 6 months. Reading your words gave me permission to grieve again. Thank you. We grew up watching you on screen, but seeing your heart off screen makes me admire you even more. I just adopted a rescue in Pearl's honor. Her name is Star, because I know your girl was one." Jenny was overwhelmed, not by grief this time, but by connection. In sharing her sorrow, she had tapped into something universal. She realized that people weren't just offering sympathy. They were sharing their own stories. And maybe, just maybe, that was the point of it all, to keep talking, keep remembering, keep feeling, so none of it was ever lost. The Rainbow Bridge. One evening, Jenny received a package. No return address, but carefully wrapped in craft paper and twine. Inside, a small wooden box with a delicate inscription. "Until we meet again at the Rainbow Bridge." Inside the box was a painted rock with Pearl's name on it and a tiny glass vial containing a few sprigs of lavender. There was also a letter, unsigned. "Dear Jenny, I know how it feels to lose a soul dog. I lost mine 2 years ago. I read your post and cried. I wanted you to have this. Pearl may be gone in body, but you'll feel her in the wind, in the sand, in the silence when you sip your morning tea. That love never dies." Jenny clutched the note to her heart and wept. How did someone she didn't know manage to write exactly what she needed to hear? Later that night, she walked back to the beach with the rock and planted it gently beneath a weathered driftwood tree. Pearl had always loved napping under trees. "I'll see you there," she whispered, "at the bridge." New beginnings. Weeks passed. The sadness softened, curling around her like fog rather than storm clouds. The house still felt empty in certain moments, when the doorbell rang and no bark followed, when she dropped food and no furry scavenger arrived. But Jennie started noticing small things. She began walking the trail behind her house again, the one she and Pearl had explored endlessly. This time, she was joined by Fossey, the tiny rescued chihuahua she'd adopted during the pandemic. He wasn't Pearl. He was himself, quirky, full of personality, and eager to take the lead. Jennie began advocating more publicly for dog adoption again. She recorded a new video for the American Humane Society, dedicating it to Pearl. "For the love that never leaves," she said in the closing shot. She also received an email from a young writer who had seen her post and wanted to collaborate on a children's book about grief and pets.